This is the Unit 1 Study Guide answer key for ELR 1.8 about dimensional analysis. For each of these, I'm most interested in your steps. So when I grade this on the test, I want to see your process. So if you get to the right answer, sure, that'll give you some of the credit, but I want to see how you got there more specifically. I want you to show me how your units canceled out, because that's what the important part is when it comes to dimensional analysis. So number one is asking us to go from 45 miles per hour and turn that into feet per second. I always start out with the thing that I'm starting with, or on the other side, the thing that I want to end with. So I know I'm going to go from 45 miles for every 1 hour. That's what miles per hour means. And I want to end up over on the right-hand side. I want to end up in feet per second. So whatever that ends up being, we need to convert these units. So it doesn't matter if you want to start with hours or miles and work towards the thing they should be. I just feel like working with hours first. So I want to get rid of that hours unit. In order to do that, I know I need hours on the top. So I know that 1 hour is the same thing as 60 minutes. And what that does for me is now things on the top and the bottom in fractions when they're multiplied, they can cancel out. I'm left with minutes. I need to get to seconds, so I'm not quite done with that yet. So I know that there is 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Now my minutes cancel out, and I'm left with seconds. That's exactly where I wanted to be. Now let's focus on the miles part. In order to get rid of the miles, I'm going to need miles on the bottom. I know that, so that they'll cancel out. I went online and I did a little searching. I found out that there are 5280 feet in 1 mile. Now I've got miles canceling out there, and I'm left with the only two units, feet and seconds. When I put those together, I calculated out the top first, so 45 times 1 times 1 times 5280, and I got 237,600. And I did the same on the bottom, 60 times 60. When I put all those together, I didn't leave myself quite enough room, so I'm going to rewrite it over here. And use a better color too. When I put those things together, I got 66 feet for every 1 second. For number two, I'm going from dollars to nickels. In order to do that, I'm going to start off with $1,209. And I like to put it over 1 to keep everything a fraction so that I can multiply across the top and bottom and make sure that all my units are canceling also. So I need to get from that into nickels. Blank nickels. I don't know how many yet. So in order to do that, I had to think through, well, I need to cancel out dollars. So let's put dollars on the bottom. And I need to get to nickels. So I had to figure out, well, how many nickels are in a single dollar? Well, nickels are worth 5 cents, and I know that a dollar is worth 100 cents. So 100 divided by 5, I figured out that there are 20 nickels in a single dollar. Dollars now cancels out, and I'm left with just nickels. So 1,209 times 20 gave me 24,180 nickels for my answer. For number three, we are starting to get a little bit more complicated because we're supposed to figure out how many, we're going to have 2 units in our answer. We're going to have pounds and ounces. We're starting off with kilograms, which just kills me because we're moving away from metric. That's the wrong way. But whatever. They want to know how many pounds and ounces if the baby was this many kilograms. So we start off with what we're given, 3.295 kilograms. Again, I'm going to put it over 1 just to make everything a fraction. And I want to end with pounds and ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up with a number that has a decimal in it. So over here we're going to get pounds. And I know I'm going to have a decimal in it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it when I get there. But first let's just convert to pounds. So again, I had to go online and do a little searching. And I figured out that, well, first of all, I have to have kilogram on the bottom so that those will cancel out. I figured out that there, if I round, there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. Now this gets rid of my kilograms, and I'm left with pounds. So I can throw that in. I calculate it out. It turns out that that's 7.249 pounds. Well, I figured out the pounds part. The next issue is I need to know how many pounds and ounces. So the ounces is like, with that leftover, how many ounces is that? So I'm going to do another conversion over here just with that decimal, the 0.249. And so I'm going to take 0.249 pounds. Oops. And put it over 1 just to make it a fraction. And I again had to go online, and it turns out that there are 16 ounces in a single pound. So 1 pound goes on the bottom. Now my pounds will cancel. 16 ounces on the top. And I can again do my calculations. And what I find out is that 0.249 pounds turns out to be 3.984 ounces. That's really stinking close to 4, so I feel comfortable rounding that. So my final answer, I'm going to squish it in here, is 7 pounds, 4 ounces for that baby. The last one. If I have 1 milliliter of ink and it can print 50 pages of text, and I have 100 gallons of ink, how many reams of paper? So a ream is 500 pages. It's a fair amount of pages. Turns out that, by the way, ink is the most expensive liquid on the planet. So a whole gallon of it is a fair amount of cost. How many reams of paper could we print? I'm expecting that it's going to be a really lot. So here's what we got to do. I've been given 100 gallons. Again, I want to turn that into a fraction. And I want to land over here somewhere on the right. I want to land on reams as my unit. So all the stuff in the middle here should turn my unit from gallons into reams. So let's get rid of gallons. I went online and well, first of all, I know that they're giving me a milliliters amount here. 1 milliliter of ink can make 50 pages, so I know this conversion. That tells me that I got to get into metric. Milliliter is metric. I went online and I just searched for how many liters. If you went straight to milliliters, that's fine too. You'll get the same answer. But I found out that there were 3.79 liters, if you round it, for every 1 gallon. This allows me to cancel out my gallons. Now I'm in liters. And I can just use either the metric chart where you move the decimal, or I know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So for every 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. That gets rid of my liters. Now I have a unit that'll go in to get me to pages. So it said again in the instructions, 1 milliliter can give me 50 pages. So 50 pages will go into 1 milliliter. So now I've gotten myself from gallons into pages. I'm almost to reams. The last thing that it said was 1 ream is the same as 500 pages. So 1 ream over 500 pages. Now pages go away. Let's just check to make sure all my units have canceled. All that I'm left with is ream. So if I multiply across the top, divide it by the only thing on my bottom part is 500. When I plug all that in correctly, I get 37,900 reams, which is a lot.